Welcome to Chapter 210 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how's your week been?
Crazy, busy, tiring. How about you, Travis?
I would throw a few of those words in there for me as well. Besides that, I got a little bit sensible. I chopped my hair off that was outrageous and had a shave. So we have pictures for Oliver's first birthday in a week.
Oh, fun.
So I have to be somewhat presentable for those, Joe. Not really all the time getting pictures. So yeah, that is about it for me. We have another snowstorm. Yay! We had
Yeah.
105 centimeters a couple weeks ago, listeners. Now we're getting a solid 50 to 85. I've shoveled 3 times a day already. I hate snow. Uh, yeah, fun. But I'm really excited to talk about our topic tonight, Joe. As you know from the Animation Nation, I love
Yeah.
animation quite a bit. I threw this to
What you
Joe
do?
earlier yesterday and said, "Have this for an idea. I think it would be pretty good." And Joe's all for it, especially since DC's kind of been lagging on the animation compared to Marvel lately and others, Image, Rick and Morty. So, yeah,
Fair.
I wanted to jump in and talk about some of our greatest hits. Obviously, before we do all that, we have to get the network plugs out of the way. So let me see if I can do this. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 7 shows in total. On Mondays, bi-weekly, is Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays is a walk through the multiverse, which is coming back weekly in a week to cover Invincible
Starting
next
next
week.
week.
So look for me on there as well because I will be frequenting
Wait, that's next week. Week after. Sorry.
week after.
Yeah.
Well, the show comes out next week.
Yes.
Yes. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays is DC Alliance. And Sundays monthly is World's Finest True Believers. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And DC Alliance goes live Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. All 3 of those shows also have their own podcast feed. Search DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want DC content, Star Wars content, or Marvel content only. But if you want all 7 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, say subscribe to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, the $1 tier and the $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing and you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through all the DC films through the years. We just posted up Constantine, our 2005 Constantine review. That was last weekend. We have V for Vendetta on deck, so it's a fun time for some DC movies after going through Catwoman and that barrage of crap. I am very excited.
We got through the worst of it all. I
We
feel
have Batman
anyway.
Begins soon, which is one that I'm very excited about. It's been a little while since I revisited that. I know Joe has revisited it recently, but again,
This year.
we are going through all the DC films for the years. We also have the Marvel Alliance guys, Chris and Brent, going through. They did their entire Infinity Saga rewatch. Over 30 pieces of content up there. Now they're doing their Tales of the House of X Patreon show, which is going through all their favorite X-Men. Fox X-Men movies in that universe. So that's going to be a fun time. We have Clay doing his Marvel Snap reviews. We have Katie doing reviewing Star Wars comics. And we have Joe's Multiverse Minutes, which Joe is back on the Multiverse Minutes treadmill. Joe, tell the listeners what you're doing for them again now with the Disney of it all.
Multiverse Minutes Disney Dives is what I'm calling it. The 1st and 15th of every month, I'm going to be rewatching some Disney classic animated movies and just talk about them. First one that I had at the beginning of the month was Snow White. Next one coming out next week, we'll be talking about Pinocchio, and I'm just going to be moving forward from there. It's just
Nice.
I watched the movie. I give my thoughts on it. I dive into some of the behind the scenes stuff. Really, just anything I find on IMDb, and maybe even Wikipedia. But yeah. It's just something I want to do, and it gives me an excuse to rewatch all these classic Disney movies, and 2, since I go to Disney all the time, and 2, rewatch some of the ones I've never seen, which is kind of like in the 70s and 80s a lot that I haven't seen.
Yeah, they got a few here that I haven't seen as well, and again, it's just fun. Everyone's a fan of Disney. At least one movie or two you have special tie to, so that's awesome. We thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds, rate and view the podcast on your podcast app of choice. it helps other people find the show, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe, before we get into our top tens, we have a question from Iggy here, which is, what is your thoughts on Zack Snyder's Batman killing, and should James Gunn Batman killed? I guess he's saying, should James Gunn Batman kill? And what do you think about Zack Snyder's killing? I enjoyed the story. We don't want to get too much in this. Obviously, this is coming from Snyder's review, appearance on Rogan. I don't really want to get into all that. Just to answer his question, I like the take outside the norm, Iggy, but I also enjoy like Batman the animated series where he doesn't kill and like he retired because he was going to shoot a gun at somebody. I enjoy different takes. I was completely fine with a 20-year Batman going down a dark path because of Superman. Like, I enjoyed that story. Those are some of my favorite films, but I'm also okay with getting a more closely Batman the animated series type of Batman that doesn't do any of that sort of thing. That's completely fine with me as well. Like, I'm not a one note Batman kind of guy. I do like it when you put it in the gray area sometimes with him. And Joe?
So this popped up yesterday, and obviously it's been a
Yeah.
big talking point on social media. And it got me thinking, because it's either you're on this side or you're on that side. If you're on this side, you're a fan of, like, you just kind of suck Zack Snyder's hoo-ha. On this side, it's like you just hate everything he ever does. And that's literally all it is. But my thought is, because I was thinking about this, when you ask who people's favorite Batman is, what do they say? They'll say Michael Keaton, and they'll say Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Right? So I was thinking, okay, so let's talk about those two in particular.
We know that they kill a hell of a lot, dude.
Michael Keaton killed in both movies.
Christian Bale, before he becomes Batman, blows up the whole monastery. Like, if you can tell me that nobody dies there, then okay, I got a bridge to sell you. But they don't emphasize the killing. That's all.
Exactly. They don't do that. There's also he didn't save Roz at the end of the movie, but guess what? Not saving is literally just killing. Okay, fine. So, okay, take those two out. Whatever. Val Kilmer's killed Two-Face. Similar situation where Two-Face, he has to throw his coin. He throws the coin up and, he falls down to his death. He could have saved him. Didn't. Whatever. Batman killing, I get.
It's only since social media, Joe. This is essentially since Twitter became a thing. These people get on these.
I'm also going to say that Adam West Batman killed a bunch of fish when he threw that bomb in the water. Just saying. I know that doesn't count. But,
PETA is coming right after you.
Exactly.
Well, actually, wait.
Well, they don't care about fish.
Well, I think that's the least of the problem if you want to come after Adam West at this moment, Joe.
Fair. But the Batman killing thing, like you had just said, it works for that character. He had 20 years of being depressed and basically fighting a fight that was never ending.
Yeah.
And people want to come at him and say, well, if he's killing people, why does he kill a Joker? If you actually sit there and watch the movie and think about it, he's killing people who are, I'm sorry, he is doing things to these people who are actively trying to kill him. Joker doesn't want to kill him. Joker loves to torture him, both mentally and physically. He doesn't want Batman dead. So
Joker's probably in a body cast for what happened to Robin still.
Literally. So do I think Snyder is a little out of touch with some of the stuff? Yes. I think he definitely is just running his mouth to run his mouth. But I like Zack Snyder. I do. I like his.
If I had a movie that I was promoting that was coming out in a month, I probably would say a couple things that would get people to go off. It's not like this has never happened before. Like, it's not like he basically did this to get a movie put out. Or
no, because he got the deal for Netflix, so like his stuff's coming out regardless. I'm also going to disagree with him about the whole Rebel Moon got viewed.
I haven't even watched Rebel Moon. Spoiler alert! But again, he's just going by Netflix graphics.
Sure, what they're telling him.
Spoiler alert, I don't think I might have watched like 5 Netflix movies with somebody sitting next to me, and most of them I watched by myself. I just broke your rule, Netflix. I just broke your rule because they said they consider every view with 2 people. So again, that's just what he's extrapolating. But I watched the whole interview. There was nothing said that was any bit egregious. I saw some tweets like, "We dodged a bullet, DC." Like, he didn't say anything. He could have went on a bit of a warpath talking about how he was treated in Justice League, but he didn't even mention
But he
that, Joe.
doesn't.
He just
It's
forged on, and again, he was
it's
just asked about a couple of the podcasters' favorite movie. Do I think the podcasters are dick? 100%, yes.
well, yeah.
100%. I don't think you should.
Rogan has
I
his
don't
own
think you
little
should
thing.
take your medical advice from Joe Rogan. That's basically what.
Yeah. At end of the day, though, like Snyder did his thing.
Mhm.
Obviously, it resonated with some and didn't with others.
We got a
The
new take
people,
now that we're excited for.
and should the gun verse or whatever this new DC universe have a Batman that kills? It's going to depend on the situation. Do I
Probably
think he
not with
should?
Damien.
Probably no.
Probably not with Damien running around next to
Yeah,
him.
Damien's going to be killing a lot more people regardless, so Batman won't be killing. Like, come on, let's be honest here.
But yeah, Hunter. In reality, like me and Joe don't really care. We're excited for the new stuff. We got the old stuff that we can go watch if
Exactly.
we do choose. But we're kind of. Joe said there is no. You're on one side or the other. I like to think we're both on top of that middle fence there, Joe. Just coming along.
I like the movies. Well,
Yes.
but I'm just saying about the whole like Batman killing thing. Like,
Oh,
either it's Batman doesn't kill, and you have this pedestal of Michael Keaton, and just conveniently forget that he dropped a bomb at Acme Chemicals and blew up the whole Acme Chemicals.
Or
with
like
those
literally
guys
hand a guy TNT and smiled and then kicked him in a hole. Like,
yeah,
I mean, like
that's what I'm saying. Like he is killing. There's a joke on my other podcast for Comic Rundown that my friend Chuck always brings up anytime I do a kill count by the end of the movie. He's like, "Oh, so this is significantly less than what Batman killed in his movie." It's like, yeah,
Yep.
Batman killed like 80 some people in the first movie and like 70 in the second. Like, come on, dude. Like, Batman kills.
Yes.
Michael Keaton, Batman kills. Christian Bale, Batman kills. Like, these are the two that people love, and they are killing people. I don't understand why they get a pass and this doesn't. It's because people don't like Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
But again, I'm okay with a Batman that doesn't kill. We'll get to this. Some of my moments on here. One of my top moments on here. I'll get to it, but it comes all about what you were asking there. So, Joe, let's talk about our honorable mentions before we probably take our first ad break of the evening, because I know you, like me, couldn't select 10 without giving a few shout outs. So
Sure.
do you have a couple honorable mentions there in your list?
Yeah, I got 3 honorable mentions, and I will start out caveat for all of this. I haven't seen all these movies in forever.
Same.
So over on the show, we literally just started into the DC animated movies, and that one was
Superman Doomsday. Yeah, I got a quarter of it.
Came out today.
I got a quarter of it watched today.
So like we are nowhere near.
You.
I appreciate that. We're nowhere near any of this stuff. So I'm saying it's been a minute since I've seen these, so I'm not going to remember everything perfectly. But I've got 3 honorable mentions. First one is All-Star Superman. I love the story. That it's a very, very touching story and a very good animation that I thought. But that's also, again, one I haven't seen in a minute. Next one is Batman Year One. Another really good one. It's pretty darn close to the comic. And I'm not gonna say the comic is mundane, but like it was good for its time. And I really enjoyed the animation of it. And the last one, Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Mainly because when the Titans go back in time to save all of the heroes from becoming heroes, like saving their parents, saving the tragic story, they come back to the future, realize it's worse. They go back and literally kill everything. My favorite is they give Martha her pearls and then shove her in the crime alley. Like, what? I freaking love that.
Wow,
those are my honorable mentions. What you got, Trev?
Those are some good ones, Joe. Only one of those 3 landed on my honorable mentions. I have 4. I'll say the one Joe said first, Batman Year One. I absolutely adored that film. Ben McKenzie was great. I want to say, what's his name? Breaking Bad. Walter White.
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston was Gordon. Really good. That scene where the SWAT team comes in to fight Batman, I absolutely love that. It's great. Catwoman is good in that as well. That's and I do enjoy the animation quality. It's very close to the book. very close, and I appreciate that when the animation style really goes to try to get as similar to the books that they're adapting as possible.
I'll say which I did talk about that on Superman Doomsday. I want to say it's around, I don't remember, like maybe about a couple years in when they finally start to
Yeah.
have similar animation style.
Superman
They
looks
don't
pretty
copy.
ridiculous. Superman looks pretty ridiculous, especially his chin and stuff in that Superman
Oh God,
Doomsday. Like, I'm not a very big
it
fan of that.
looks so bad.
So the other three that I had were Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I struggled to keep that off my list. I really did, but I wanted to be objective. And when I was looking at my list, a lot of it said like Batman, Batman, Batman. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
I think I
yeah.
could dial this back and put this one off. This one was so enjoyable. I'm still waiting for that sequel. They set everything up for a sequel at the end of that. So I'm hoping that the Joker Oz Shredder actually comes to be, but I won't get my hopes up because that's been out for a little while now, and there's been no talks of a sequel there. Justice League: New Frontier,
That
absolutely
was about
adored
ready to
that.
make my
Yeah,
honorable mentions. Yeah, but I'm like, no, I'm good.
adored that. Saw that for the first time.
Another
Maybe go
classic
pick
one.
up the
Yep.
book. And again, all the animation style is so similar to the book, and I'll appreciate that. And the final one is Batman Gotham Knight. That one was really fun. It was a collection of 6 different stories
Hmm.
about Batman, and they're supposed to be in the Nolan universe. Batman. That's supposed to be Nolan's
Yeah,
Batman.
it's supposed to quote unquote help bridge
Yeah,
Batman Begins and Dark Knight.
yeah,
'Cause I remember when that one came out, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing, and the stories were good. Like the
really good.
animation for all of them was wonderful.
Yeah, and again, some of them Dead versus Deadshot was a nice one. Killer Croc was another.
Hmm.
There was some really good ones in there. So yeah, that was my other honorable mention, and I do like when they mix it up like that, Joe, with the anthology.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So, listeners, we'll take our first ad break of the evening before we get into our actual top 10. We're an ad supported network. We don't pick the ads or volume. We're going to do a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, let's kick this off. What is your number 10 on your list?
Starting off, I've got Batman and Superman: Battle of the Super Sons.
Ooh, nice.
I really liked that. I mean, I really like one the animation. It's a
Hmm.
little like updated, newer style animation. The story was really good. I like Jason and John, or I'm sorry, Damien and John. I like their
Yeah.
dynamic. I thought this movie was really good. I enjoyed how those two, especially Damien, was like, I don't want anything to do with you, and was like, yeah, you're my friend. I will protect you, and even though you are literally a Superman, I'm gonna protect you. Like it's wonderful. I really like
Got
it.
some heart in it too, seeing like Damien get rejected from the Titans and John seeing that, and then them becoming basically the Super Sons together. Again, really good film, Joe. That
Yep.
one did not make my list, so I'm glad
Interesting.
that you
Okay.
got to mention it there. My number 10 is Justice League War, the kickoff to the New 52 universe. I did like how they decided to go with the Justice League movie starting off and then going off to individual adventures after that.
Hmm.
It was the reverse of the Avengers model. So I enjoyed that. I thought it was a good way to do this. Darkseid was very menacing, and you basically think like, oh, well, Darkseid was taken care of. That very big villain. Spoiler alert: dude just lurks since then, just plotting and prodding and waiting. Just
Yep.
basically pointing out should have killed him. Should have straight up like heat beamed his head off because again, you can't let that guy lose and then sit out there. I thought all the heroes had their moments too. It was a good, and the animation style was fantastic. It was a nice kickoff for a universe.
Well, in that universe, I mean, I've got a couple of them on mine, obviously, but that they kept the same animation style the entire universe, which was nice. But it kind of made you feel like, oh, this is you know, a thing.
Yes, and I do appreciate that, and I'm with Joe. I do have a couple others from that universe on here. Joe, number 9.
Justice League Doom.
Ooh, nice. That was
Um,
a debate for me.
was it? I
Yes.
will admit this is one that I haven't seen in a while, but it
Hmm.
is based off of the Tower of Babel storyline, and I love those issues. I love that storyline. So this was kind of an easy. I put that at number 9 because while I love the story, the comic story, I don't remember the movie very well,
The
but I
movie's
wanted to keep it on the
fantastic.
list.
I
Yeah,
reviewed it, I wanna say a few weeks ago or a month ago, a month or 2. Adored it, Joe. It's really good, really fast paced too. Like
good,
it doesn't
good,
there's
good,
no
good.
lagging to it. You would enjoy it if you revisited it.
Oh,
and my
I'm gonna enjoy all these when I
and
get
that
to them.
and that didn't hit my list either. So we're gonna have
Oh, interesting.
somewhat different lists. My number 9, Green Lantern: First Flight. I thought
Mm.
this was a fantastic Green Lantern movie. I found this in like 2011, I think, 2012, a couple years after it came out, and I was blown away. What a great introduction to hell. Basically, here, if you ever wanted to make a Green Lantern movie, here, just go on this. Go on this. Don't bring him to Earth at all. Keep him completely off world the entire time.
From what
And
I remember,
this was fantastic, and Victor Garber as Sinestro, I think that's who he played. Was who played Sinestro was
okay.
fantastic.
From what I remember, because it's again been a long
Hmm.
time since I've watched this one. That one in particular, um, it it's what the Green Lantern movie should have been.
Space adventure, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
I think Christopher Maloney, who's the general in not general, the captain or what you call it, Man of Steel, he played Hal Jordan. Uh,
yes, 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 yes,
and
yes.
Victor Garber did play Sinestro. I knew
Okay.
that. That was, but yeah, really enjoyable film. I was blown away at how good that was.
Very cool.
Hmm. So kicking it back to Joe.
Number 8, Justice League Dark. Love that movie.
Ooh.
Another good one. You get introduced to all the magic of everything.
Hmm.
Matt Ryan as Constantine. That one is great. Also, Batman scaring demons was just hilarious, or ghost or whatever it was that was like trying to get up in Batman's face, and he just says "boo," and they're like, "Oh,
It was like death
love
has
it."
been following you all over, so close to getting your hands on you. The same to
Uh
the
huh.
Batman. I did like how they made Batman like essentially we identified with Batman and went through the journey as Batman was
Exactly.
dismissive of magic, and it was a really good way to do that. I just found it a little wild that Batman was dismissive of magic after going up against Apocalypse. I mean, Darkseid, and trying to send him back to Apocalypse and going on the mothership and all that. I'm like, maybe
Yeah, but
maybe open your mind a little bit more, Batman. Instead of
I'll
being
say,
like
but giant
magic.
space aliens, like, oh yeah, that's something physical I can hit. Magic, yeah, I can't really touch that. You know, that's a little
But I mean,
weirder.
let's believe a little bit in it. That's all. That's
Okay,
all I
fine,
say,
that's
man.
fair. That's
That's
fair.
all I beg you to do. But yeah, that's a good one. That one didn't make my list as well, Joe. So I'm loving this. My
Yes.
number 8, Batman: Assault on Arkham.
Oh, okay.
Really
Not on
loved
my
it.
list. Yeah.
Directed by the great Jay Leva as well. Uh, this was a great film. I loved it. I loved the whole switcheroo, the Batman of it all. When we insert Batman and he takes down all the thugs and gets Riddler, and then Amanda Waller's involved. We go back and forth with them. Joker is injected into the mix 3/4 of the way into the film, blowing people's heads off. It is a superb film. Kevin Conroy is Batman, and that's all I need for a good time.
Yep.
I think this is a gem in the DC animated movie lineup that not a lot of people check out.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Hmm.
My number 7, one you already said, Justice League War.
Ooh, nice.
Beginning of the New 52 animated universe, based on the Justice League comics, the origin comics from New 52. Fairly good interpretation, really good introduction to the characters for this new universe. And like you said, you got them here, and then they'll go off and do their own little thing.
Yep.
I will say that their release window for some of these were terrible, because Wonder Woman getting a film before the
Well,
finale,
Wonder Woman film should have been immediately after this one.
it should have been within the first 5. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, because again,
But
like it did nothing for the end. It's like, oh,
no,
I'm waiting for
well,
Justice the last film.
those last like 3 did nothing for that final movie.
Yeah.
So let's be honest.
Basically,
Um,
essentially, what they should do is go with my number 7 into my number 6, and I'll hit you with number 7 first, which
okay.
is Death of Superman and Reign of Superman, because I combine them
now
because
you're
they are one
so you're
story.
7-6.
Nope, that's just 7.
Oh,
Is
see, because
Death of Superman, Reign of Superman.
I put the Death and Return of Superman, because that
Yeah,
is the one story on
yeah.
my list.
Okay, I
So just
combine
do
them
that.
because it is
Do
one
that.
story. Yeah, but that's what my number 7 is. I
Okay.
really enjoyed that. I thought it was great. The whole Doomsday versus the Justice League part was fantastically animated, and then showing
Yeah.
that like Superman got to go, and Wonder Woman even telling him like, yeah, you got to take him out to kill. Love that, and again, it was they made this a bit of an event. They showed the first viewing of this at a fandom. You had to wait for to get the second part, and then when you got the second part, there was also you could get parts 1 and 2 together as a full little thing, like a that was I appreciate that too. That stuff like that you're doing to get me to buy the film and other things. I enjoy that.
I mean, I was gonna say it when I got to it on my list, but I'll say it now. I got the first one, watched it here at my house. The second one, they had a Fathom event where I could go see 1 and 2 back to back in theaters. I'm like, hell yeah! I
Mhm.
went in theaters and I saw both these movies, and I
I'm
was
so jealous
loving it.
because we don't have fandom events here, so
Yeah, that sucks.
that's awesome, Joe. Kicking it to you for number 6.
My number 6, Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. This is
Ooh.
the Superman, Batman, Supergirl storyline from the comics,
Mhm.
and Batman. And this scene gets put on social media a lot. I always see it.
Oh yeah.
Batman basically not bluffing, well, sort of bluffing, Apocalypse or Darkseid to like have him let go of Supergirl. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And Darkseid even recognizes, like, you know what? If the Kryptonian and the Amazon would have done this, I wouldn't have believed them. But you humans, you
You
guys are
go to war
tricky.
with you go to war with your own kind, an
Yeah,
admirable quality. I'm like,
yeah. Like,
so
and this is, again, we talked about it earlier, animation style matching the comic. It's Michael
yes.
Turner art in the comic. They did a fairly decent job matching it. At this time when the movie came out, Turner had already passed away,
Hmm.
so they did what they could to match it, and I thought they did a really good job.
Agreed, and it's also in the same universe as connected, like the same people in it as Superman, Batman, Public
Public Enemies.
Enemies.
Yep.
So again, I do appreciate that as well because I think both of these are fantastic. I did review both of these films a couple months ago as well, Joe. So those are fresh in my mind, and they
Very
are
good.
very good.
They're both good. I just
Yeah,
liked Apocalypse better than Public
it
Enemies.
is.
Public
It is.
Enemies is great. Don't
Oh,
get me
it's
wrong.
great too, but there's more moments in Apocalypse, Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. You're right.
Yep.
There's more moments, but even like when he opens up the door to bring Carrie in, and then
Yeah.
Darkseid Omega,
But they
that final battle,
also
that final
also
battle.
you got Batman, or you got Superman and Wonder Woman going to Big Bartha's house, and Batman's already there, and
Yeah,
Bartha's just like, "Where did you come from?" Like, yeah, I didn't want to be seen.
I'm here everywhere. I'm
Yeah.
everywhere. I came to the toilet. Uh,
What you got for
number
6?
number 6 for me is Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. So,
Oh,
ho-
interesting.
Mama, put away the kids. Get everyone hidden because this is not your standard animated film for people. This is not one to bring your 6-year-old to show. This was bonkers. So many
Hmm.
heroes met their deaths, uh, and it's all connected too. That was another thing that I appreciated. This piggyback off of Flashpoint Paradox. This set up the new universe going forward. I'm
Yep.
really still hoping that we're going to get payoffs for this in the Justice League Crisis. I'm assuming we will,
I
but
think we
you
will.
you know what they say when you assume things. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I did that a little bit in the Crisis live action and ended up hating it. So I'm trying my best to not assume things.
We should have
Uh,
realized that after the first episode, for being honest.
yeah, yeah. I can remember being like, well, we'll definitely get like the Flash and Green Arrow like going to do something together. Like we got to. This is the final thing. Obviously, they have like a 10-second conversation outside, and that's
Yeah,
essentially it before
that's really
Skipper
about it.
dies. So I'm like, what? So yeah, I don't even want to talk about expecting things, watching trailers. Like yeah. So yeah, that was very frustrating. But I love this. He's spying through Cyborg. He knows there's attack, and shit hits the fan. He controlled everything. He has Batman as his like uh, mage going out and doing all the shit for him. Love this. And
It's
then the
great.
final thing with Barry resetting everything, just magical because the Earth is shit. I love how Superman's like, we will rebuild, and it's like, dude, like the Earth's off his axis here. Like there's no core anymore. Like
Literally
what?
blowing
Like
up. Yeah.
sorry, like smiles and good positive attitudes not going to do anything this time, Superman. And
No.
John Constantine's like, you know what you got to do, clear the board, and yeah, just really, really love this. This was I wasn't expecting to get this coming off of the other films, and I was shocked at where they went with in this universe.
Yeah.
Number 5, Joe.
All right, we're in our top 5. I've got Batman Under the Red Hood. I've Since Red Hood came back in the comics, I've been a Jason fan.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll admit, I read those issues with him in it in the Batman back in the 80s. They sucked.
Yeah.
Batman Death of the Family was amazing, but like Jason was a terrible character.
Yeah.
Well, he was a dick.
They
Let's put it
made
that
him.
way.
They basically made it for people to
Well,
hate him. Like that's what they were doing at
no.
some
So
time.
no. Here's the difference: is that they didn't. They were trying to make him to be the replacement Dick Grayson, and it was fine for a while. And then Crisis happened, and they're like, "Well, let's tweak him a little bit," and they did because his original origin was literally Dick Grayson's origin. He was from a circus. He had the acrobatic background, and so it's like, oh, okay, we literally just Dick Grayson was too big, too old to be Robin. Now we have a new Robin. And then when he got the crisis happened, it shifted him to where he was a street rat that just kind of was trying to steal the wheels off of the Batmobile.
The Batmobile.
And they made him into basically into a little shit. Very, very.
That's what I mean. Like they kind of
responsive.
They basically made the audience not like him. Like
well,
they got to a point where they
were
like
trying to give Bruce a challenge with the character that they can be like, hey, he's gonna actually try and fix them. But the people never latched onto him, and that's not. It's something that happens.
It does.
Similar to Gwen Stacy being killed over in Spider-Man. The Stan Lee loved Gwen Stacy. He thought Gwen and Peter were gonna be the couple, but the audience, the readers were just like, no, he needs to be with Mary Jane. That's his girl. Even though, and so Stan Lee tried for years to get Gwen to be it. It's like, nope, we gotta get rid of her. But yeah, so under the Red Hood, love that. I loved Jason coming back as Red Hood, coming back alive. The explanation in the comics, wonky as all get out. When at the end of the movie, we get Jason blowing up the bomb in the building, and we don't know what happens. If I remember correctly,
we do. Yeah, we do.
Do we? Well, how did it end?
Raj is the one that used Joker to try to get Batman off the tracks. Joker is one that kidnapped Robin and put him in there and killed him. Raj felt really bad.
No, not that. I'm talking about the end of the movie itself. Like like when he blows up the building with Joker and Batman in it. Does that not end there?
I don't think that's how that ends.
So,
wait,
again,
no, you're right. Yep. Sorry,
because what I remember is
you are
him getting like the building blows up.
You're right. Batman gets flung. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, you are right.
We don't actually see.
No,
like we don't see a resolution.
Either of those two are not. We don't see a body for the other two.
Okay, because in the comics, that is right there at the event of, I think it's Infinite Crisis, and things get wonky again.
Joker is still there.
But you can't find Robin. Red Hood.
You don't see the You don't see anything. Like you don't see the costume or anything. So yeah.
Yeah, it was left a lot more ambiguous
because
in
when you said the last shot is like Jason being like, "This is the greatest day ever."
Yes. Yeah. Okay. It being all positive.
I was like,
regardless, loved the movie. I know Jensen Ackles does the voice of Red Hood, which then obviously he becomes the voice of Batman in the New 52 universe. Which
I don't want to hear one person tell me that he should be the Batman of DCU, please. I don't want to hear it.
Alan Richardson's gonna be the Batman.
I'll take that any day of the week, and 8 days on Sunday.
My
number 5 is Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. Love this one. Mark Hamill's performance is fantastic. I didn't think we'd get him again, and he comes back. This was a great movie. I loved using Tim as well, and the whole backstory of what happened to Joker and what happened to Tim. Is chilling, and this on the mature rating. Oh my god, this is great. I do love how Terry messes with Joker at the end too, like making fun of him.
It's one of those things where Bruce is like, "Hey, this is how I handle him. You just do it this way," and Terry's just like, "That's your way. This is my way," and literally just because this one is my number 4, so this is literally just like, "Oh no, I'm gonna I'm Batman now. I'm gonna handle it my way, and that's not what Joker's used to.
Nope.
One thing I liked about Jean Paul Valet becoming, or Azrael becoming Batman in the comics, when he went up against Joker, Joker's just like, oh well, shucks, you kind of stopped my plan, foiled it. Okay, whatever, and he starts to walk away, and Asbats is just like, oh, where are you going? It's like, you don't understand, dude. Like, I know you're new here, but like how we do this is you just arrest me. It's like, yeah, I'm not that kind of Batman. And breaks his arm.
Oh,
So like
nice.
it's pretty awesome. So when you have the Batman that does things their way, that's great. So
Agreed.
but yeah,
So
so that was
before
my 4. What's your 3? Oh, we're
before
going.
what before we get my 4, let's take our second ad break. Listeners, we're an ad supported network. We don't pick the ad to the volume. I'm going to do a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back.
I was
Okay,
gonna
Joe.
say that like our top 5 might be the same, but you've already said 2 of my top 5, so
Yep,
we'll see.
some of them are going to be different. My number 4 is Justice League: Crisis on Two Earths.
That's my number 3.
Nice. We never went over this either, listeners. So this is great. I'll say what I like, and then Joe will say what he likes about it. So I really enjoyed the cast, the voice actors here, especially Owlman. Props to James Wood, who's an absolute terrible shitbag of a human being, but he nails this, and I actually wanted to hear him in the Crisis animated one as well. I wanted to hear his voice, even though as much as I think he's a shitbag. Yeah, really enjoyed the whole cast characters. Lex being good was great. The whole our I call him our Justice League going over to their side. Martian Manhunter falling in love with Slade Wilson's daughter. Everything worked for there wasn't a thing that didn't work for me in this film. So I did love this, and how it's its own standalone thing. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, great story. It's based off of a great story. My favorite was just you talk about James Woods, his Owlman. There at the end, he is trying to stop everything, and he's just like, "What's the point?" I just sacrificed himself. Sacrificed himself. Air quotes there, but everybody. But like he was cool and under pressure. Like he was pretty awesome.
2 moments I want to mention too is Batman and Owlman obviously versus each other. The whole speech and everything looked into abyss. You blinked, and he throws it really good. And Batman pulling a fast one on Johnny Quick, getting him to vibrate and killing him, knowing that it would have happened to the Flash. That's
wait, hold on. Wait, did you say Batman?
Yeah. Oh,
purposely
yeah.
killed somebody?
That's what I was just going to say, Joe. Like, no flack, no nothing. Just people saying, "Oh, it's a cool moment when Batman literally lies to Johnny Quick, saying like the Flash isn't fast enough. You need to do this. I studied your body. You're faster." And then he's like, "You knew this would happen." Batman's like, "Yeah." Well, yeah, manipulated him to death. So again, I'm okay with it. I enjoy it in the story. It doesn't make me think any less of Batman. Guess what? I'm like, "Oh, you're really Team Justice League." That's what I thought. You're really Team Justice League, ride or die. So didn't hate it, but again, I keep that same energy, whatever interpretation, Joe. So yeah,
yeah. So that's your number 4. My number 3. What you got for 3?
Number 3, Travis cheats again a little bit. The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and 2.
That's fair.
That is its own story. I got to give props to Jay Levy again. He's on a couple of these on my list here. This was a masterpiece in adaptation. This is how you adapt source material. You can't take everything, but you take all the majority of it. Loved it. I thought the animation was as faithful as you could be to the book, and then the voice acting. Peter Weller as Batman. I mean, like,
wonderful job.
I could just listen to him read comics in that voice, and I love Kevin Conroy's voice as well. But he has a really good voice for Batman as well, Peter Weller, and like especially when he goes from Bruce to Batman. And one thing I will notice, the majority of it is the same voice, because I do think that Bruce hasn't separated himself when he's retired like that anymore. He's just going around retired Batman. He's not Bruce Wayne anymore. So I do like the voice pretty much being consistent. And again, that animation, the mutants and their raps and their slang, it all was fantastic, Joe. Again, some of these animated movies on top, not a wasted minute, not a wasted second, and that's what I appreciate.
Yeah, really good. My number 2, The Death and Return of Superman.
Nice.
One of my favorite. I mean, you had it on your list. Obviously, as a 2, I did the combined. It's one of my favorite comic storylines of all time. I thought specifically this was it's 100% a better interpretation than the Superman Doomsday that started the DC animated universes for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. Um, because it was actually the story, and they did a good job of making the Justice League disappear. Like, oh,
Yeah.
they've got transported to a different planet and they're stuck. So now we need to have heroes here. And how do we get that? We get the Cyborg Superman, we get the Eradicator, we get Superboy, we get Steel. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was a good story. And again, like the second half, the Reign of Superman differs from the comics. Like I know,
But it
what was it?
works.
It does work. It works wonderfully. Plus, there was the moment when Lois basically figures out that John Henry is Steel, and he's
Mm.
still trying to like play it off like I'm not Steel. Oh, that guy's pretty cool. Like that's not me. Come on, dude.
Again, Joe is just such a good adaptation, and I
It really is.
don't want to bury Superman Doomsday because they were given 70 minutes to adapt that. So
The
if they
early,
had two
the early
parts,
ones,
maybe they would
the,
have done better. But
yeah, the early animated movies, literally, they're like 70 minutes is all you get,
if you
and then
go over one
obviously
minute, we will kill a puppy. That's essentially what they were
kind of
like.
basically.
Yeah.
And what they did for the time worked.
Hmm.
It was rough, but it worked for 2007.
Yeah. That's a key word for 2007. And still, I
Yeah.
think it got raked over the coals a little bit back then, but
Well,
it would lead
I
to
just rewatched it, and it doesn't hold
no,
up as well.
no, not
You'll
enough.
finish the episode. It just doesn't hold up as well as it used to.
Yeah, I remember visiting it. I want to say last year, and yeah, it does not hold up well either. My number two, Joe said it on his as well. Batman Under the Red Hood. This is fantastic, and like I told Iggy, it comes back to his thing here because Batman. Essentially, this is all about Batman not killing, about Batman choosing not to kill Joker even after what he did to Jason.
Yeah.
And Batman's just essentially like, I don't do it because it would be easy. It would be easy to go down that rabbit hole, and I don't know what I become. Spoiler: some other Batman kind of went down that rabbit hole and didn't know what he became.
And
Oh,
that's
don't know who could have
yeah.
happened, Joe. Like you can't tell stories about this. So yeah, really, really, just a great overall, fantastic. The animation, the fights, the action scenes. Batman, Red Hood teaming up against those secret samurais. I can't remember what
It
their name
falls
now
back
is.
into place too. Like, and those guys weren't in the comics.
They got
Those are
their name though. They got a name from the
sure.
film. Like there's something like
Yeah,
super
but
secret
they were
societies.
added to the movie specifically
Yeah.
because in the comic it was just some regular old criminals that kind of happened. No, they were the gang bosses. That's what it was.
Yeah, but I still
And
appreciate this more because
yeah,
it's like they're skilled.
yep, yeah, and that's what kind of what it needed
Yeah.
because obviously that team worked well cohesively, and as soon as they came in, Batman Red Hood, it's like old
Hmm.
times.
Yeah, and that's
Literally,
kind of I
like
think Red Hood said something like that
Like,
at one
yeah,
point.
he
Like, it's
reaches
just
his arm out for a catch or something, and Batman just on instinct catches
does
him
it. Yeah,
and throws him. Like it's just it was a routine that they practiced hundreds of times that they
and
could do
then
in their sleep.
Red Hood blows the head off somebody, and it was all
Well,
brilliant.
it's
Like,
fine.
way to take it too serious, dude. You've ruined it. You ruined the fun time we were having. So, yeah, really enjoyed that film as well.
Yep.
Joe, you're number one.
You said it earlier. Justice League Dark Apocalypse War.
Ooh,
This
nice.
movie was amazing. The culmination of 16 movies for that universe. And like I said earlier, the last handful were kind of rough. They really did nothing leading into this one, but the overall like universe, the New 52 universe, I loved.
Hmm.
Loved. And this movie was wonderful. The heroes lost. Even at the end, they still lost.
Yeah.
I've always been big on not having a happy ending for these guys. Not that they don't deserve it, but like when you fail constantly over and over again,
But you had that happy ending in war too. Like you got the job done.
you got
Like
the happy ending in the
you
war.
got the happy done, and you just sat on your laurels. You
Yep.
didn't prepare. You didn't. So again, I'm you know how much I love that one as well, Joe.
Yeah, no,
My
that one's
my
great.
my number one is not even on your list. Didn't even make
No.
your honorable mentions. I am blown away that you didn't even say this movie because I know Chris Balga would agree with me and probably would have this as his number one as well. It's Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. I
So
absolutely adore this film so much.
I like Sub-Zero better than Mask of the Phantasm.
Ooh, I don't know why, but I really enjoyed it. Maybe it's
Oh, it's great food. It's a great
maybe
movie.
it's because Siskel and Ebert enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
trust those guys. They're dead.
but you're not wrong. But I just enjoyed them giving props to Batman. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do love this. Everything about it. It's so emotional. It works. The animation, the fighting is all just like Batman the animated series. Like one giant 90-minute Batman the animated series episode. And
Yes.
again, that's just music to my ears. So yeah, that pretty much finishes our list, Joe. We went on a little longer than I thought we would go, but they were great movies, and we had
Yeah.
to talk about them. So I guess we'll do a little bit of our news catch up before we talk about our retro recap and get out of here today. So for news, James Gunn has confirmed that his Superman movie has filmed its first scenes in Norway of Superman fleeing to the Fortress of Solitude.
Very cool.
So I do see some people complaining that he's like saying too much. And I'm like, guys, that's not giving away anything. Fleeing to the Fortress of Solitude. I mean, like if you
Oh
can get
no,
the whole film.
I mean, look, I know what's happened. He comes to Earth. He's reveals himself to Earth, and now everybody's against him. So he's fleeing to the fortress because nobody likes him anymore. That's the whole movie.
TMZ is chasing him, and he goes to the fortress
Exactly.
because they can't get there. Yeah, I love seeing this. I'm excited to see a practical Fortress of Solitude. So that's like a practical set of where the Fortress of Solitude is. So yeah, I'm excited about this, Joe.
Mhm.
It was just the balls getting rolling. He's filming, so that's the main thing here. DC is also releasing Absolute Justice 2024 edition hardcover. This Absolute edition will release on November 14th and will feature a new cover from Alex Ross plus a sketchbook section with previously unseen art. And DC is also releasing the latest reprint edition of all 6 of these stories by Paul Dini and Alex Ross. Clicked it in Absolute Justice League, the world's greatest superheroes. It releases on April 30th, 2024. And obviously, I'm saying all that because there's a Alex Ross, there's a Kingdom Come documentary coming soon. He revealed that on Instagram. So I do think all of these things kind of tie together. And I'm a fan of it. I have copies down here.
I've got the 3 hardbacks on my shelf.
Yeah, down there, just look at them, same thing right there, and I enjoyed it, and I'm excited if they can bring Alex Ross back in. Come on, come back in, come home.
Also, want to point out since we're talking about Absolute editions, DC's releasing an Absolute edition of Batman Death in the Family or Death of the Family. Hold on a second. The Death of the Family, the New 52, where Joker comes in and kind of like, doesn't kill anybody. So they kind of missed the mark on the name there. But
tries to.
It's Joker with his face cut off and just like hanging on, like it's that Joker. So like I love the story when it came out. The Absolute Edition, I'm probably gonna have obviously all of the tie-ins and everything. But just want to point that out too.
Okay, let's go on. Past Alex Ross of it all. Jason Ballantyne from The Flash and Kingsman. And it is the co-editor of Superman Legacy. James Gunn revealed that.
Just Superman.
Oh yeah, sorry. Thanks, Joe. I missed our last week conversation, I guess. This is one that I'm getting more excited about. A new Lego set based on Batman the Animated Series has been announced. A little pricey for old Travis these days, but Allison's gone back to work now, so not 100% of my check is going to. I get a little bit to do stuff with, so you know what? This might be right up my alley. I think this is fantastic, and it looks so cool when it's on display.
Yeah,
so
I mean it's basically like the mural of the animated series. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna buy it. $300 for Lego is. Look, I like Lego. I do. I've got a ton over there that I still haven't built.
I'm looking at the unfinished Batman 66 mask, and maybe this might not be a thing. Travis,
I got a couple like Star Wars ones. Like I got a Millennium Falcon, no AT-AT that I haven't built. So like, yeah, I see it. I see it there.
There's a couple of Marvel things over there as well from Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, so like, I don't need anymore because I don't
cool.
build the ones I have. Yes, that is cool as all get out, but I have no place to put it.
No, Joe, you don't at all. You got
This
the
poster's going up there eventually.
you put it there, and Megazord might take it out.
I mean, Megazords are here. So,
Yeah,
like,
but he's like, this is my room, guys. Oh my. Okay, so we have some Gunn comments and stuff now. Gunn speaks on Grant Gustin, which I think he just basically is the nicest way of saying, yeah, I'm not getting him to play in the
yeah.
DCU. He's like, Grant is an incredibly talented guy performing now on Broadway, I believe, and is absolutely not going to waste just because he's not currently in a DC project. But of course, I'd love to work with him at some point. That's basically the standard line of, yeah, no, I don't. That's not. I'm not casting him as the Flash. That's what I got from that.
What I really want to know is he he's picking and choosing which comment,
Oh, 100%.
which post
100%.
to comment on,
Yeah.
because at no point did I ever think Grant Gustin is ever going to be in
Yeah.
the DC universe. Like,
I think it's like I should get like 5 to 10 replies a day, and some of them like, okay, let me reply to this nonsense one and be like, yeah, okay. Or the
I just
picture of
don't
Superman.
want
Like
them
we
to do
know
it.
that Superman's not gonna like look like the Superman from what do you call it? The battle game that Clay loved.
Yeah,
Like Superman's not gonna look like that. We all know that. Like or Fortnite Superman. We know he's not gonna look like that. Like that's not I don't need you to comment on somebody there. Like that's not gonna break anything for me. Being like,
yeah.
oh well, I thought that was gonna be the case. So I'm with Joe on that. I think he just picks and chooses sometimes. And I don't know why. I don't know some of the times why he comments on some things.
And
And
maybe
like
it's
this
to
one.
try and throw out misinformation.
This
Well,
one might
not
be
misinformation, but
misinformation. This one might be like throwing somebody off the trail because someone asked, "Will you be at San Diego Comic Con this year?" And he's like, "I'll be shooting." But I've seen other panels where they fly in the cast to do a panel and then fly them back out to the set. Like I've seen it many
yeah,
a times.
but that was before. We're in a
Yes,
new regime. I
we
think he
are.
wants to keep everything tight-lipped.
We are. And again, I wouldn't mind seeing this, but again, he's just like, we'll be shooting. Like it's impossible to get to SDCC. Like you can't take a day off in the weekend to come there. We've seen it happen a lot in Holly, so that's all I want to say when he's saying that. But again, why not bring back DC fandom? That could be a thing. Maybe
Yeah,
well, we don't have enough content for this year, but I think that's something you need
yeah.
to think
I
about.
feel like they're kind of like struggling to get things for the final one.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. Maybe next year.
So James Gunn also shared his inspirations for his Superman, uh, including Alex Ross's Superman, Superman the animated series, a couple other ones as well. There,
You got the Max Fleischer back in the day Superman. You've got the Alan.
Superman saving somebody from committing suicide, which is a classic.
That's
One
the
that
All
you
Star.
go
That's from
around.
All
Yeah,
Star.
All Star.
You got Grant Morrison Superman from New 52. You've got, I believe that is because I remember seeing like they actually have everything broken down. Um, the one where he's sitting in the fortress with Crypto right there. I
Yeah,
want to. I Is that Alan Moore? That might be Alan Moore. I don't remember. Um, and then obviously like Superman with the Legion way back
hmm
when. Like it's a nice plethora of choices.
yeah. It is. It's just a who's who basically of
Yeah.
Superman stories. Uh, finally from James Gunn. He shared a little update by Creature Commandos. I don't know why people keep asking him about it. He says it's going to come out later this year. So why are people asking? That's forgotten. He said all the animaniacs or what animatics. Sorry,
Animatics.
animaniacs. Oh my god,
I mean, it's
animatics
Warner Brothers.
are cut and finalized. Warner Brothers wouldn't let anyone
Dude,
see
if
that. No,
Animaniacs show up in Creature Commandos, that'd be awesome.
I'm all for that. Working on the actual animation and finishes. It's still set to release in 2024. So, yeah, we have just got a couple more
I
quotes
also
here.
think that people keep asking because there hasn't been no set date.
Yeah,
And because there has been a date, people are just like, when's the next thing? Give me, I want new stuff. Like, people aren't patient anymore.
nope, not at all, Joe. People just want
I'm one
instant
of them. I want the show.
Joe, you go over to your guy and be like, "What did you see any good movies lately?"
He doesn't do animation. He does actual movies.
What do we have here left? We got a couple quotes and a couple updates. So we'll take our final ad break of the evening before we give the final little bit of news and then talk about Smallville retro recaps. Listener for an ad supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to do a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. Just got a couple of quotes from Sean Gunn and Alan Tudyk and their roles in the DCU. Sean Gunn says, I'm not sure I can still technically mention publicly, even though obviously the word is out. All I can say is that the character is a little bit more grounded in being, a lot more grounded, obviously, as a human being. And that's a character that I'll tackle in a more traditional way. So, whole lot of nothing from that quote I got.
Woo!
Whole lot of nothing. This one's a bit better from Alan Tudyk on Creature Commandos. I'm doing Creature Commandos, which James Gunn wrote. It's going to be the first thing that DC does with him at the helm, and it's animated. And I am Dr. Phosphorus. Thank you. I wasn't about to say fluorescent, and he's so cool. And the whole thing, but like this is Creature Commandos. I look at one sheet and it's like Frankenstein's in there and some chick with her, like she's got a fish head, she's got water on her head, and I'm like, do all these weasel? How do they fit together? This looks bad, maybe. And then I'm like a guy who looks a lot like Ghost Rider.
But it's not.
What is that? It's Dr. Phosphorus. It's DC. Whole different thing. And it's the best thing I've ever read. It's so good. It's what what James does very well, where he brings people together, like Guardians of the Galaxy, where you're like, how does a raccoon and a what the hell? Who are all these people? And then they're just the best group. So yeah, I'm looking forward to when you see that. So he's pretty excited. I love Alan Tudyk, and
I do too.
Mr. Nobody. He forever is DC royalty for me, but his performance in Mr. Nobody, he was fantastic as that, Joe.
Yeah, Alan Tudyk is. I've loved him since Firefly.
Yeah.
So like, I kind of follow a lot of his career. I mean, I don't watch everything, obviously, but Titans was great. He's wonderful in Resident Alien. He's in literally almost every single Disney animated movie doing stuff. He was wonderful in Rogue One. Can't wait to see him in Andor, because he's gonna show up in Andor at some point, season 2. Like I love Alan Tudyk.
Who doesn't? I don't know who does. Who doesn't? Nick Holt was on Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. That was pretty cool. I watched the whole episode. It was nice back and forth with him. Didn't talk a whole lot about Lex. A little bit. He said he was. Holt said Rosenbaum was the first Lex he's ever seen.
Yeah. And yeah, you and Chris had talked. We're talking a little bit about it in the
not a whole lot of nothing really, but he agreed to come back.
But like it was one of those things where like you guys kind of hyped it up. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll listen to this. I haven't. I won't.
No, but I wouldn't listen to it if I were you. You can listen to. I like Rosenbaum. There's a couple clips out there, them talking about Lex and his performance and stuff that he actually they do chapters on that. So yeah, you would be okay to go through that. I enjoyed it. I must say. Also, apparently there's going to be a Lanterns update soon. Someone asked Gunn any news on Lanterns, and James Gunn just smiled. So I think we might
get doesn't mean anything.
An update soon, but you don't need to comment at all if there's nothing coming down the pipe with Lanterns. Also, fair. Peacemaker season 2 and Waller reportedly going to production this year, according to Daniel RPK. We kind of figured those were going to be the ones that are next up on deck for DC.
Yeah, because I assume they will either show up at the end of this year or beginning of next year.
And we got to get how they're getting over to the DCU. So that is I'm really interested to see Peacemaker season 2, because you got to explain that to me.
Yeah.
Will he be like a Deadpool? Like know that it's changed, like a pariah type thing, like where he's the only one that knows that it was a different universe. Maybe like would he interact with Batman or Superman? He's like, you were different last time. So yeah, maybe I wonder. The final piece of news we have, Joe, is My Adventures with Superman gets a new comic series starting March 2024. The first issue launches on March 15th. The series is written by Josie Campbell, and the art is by Pablo M. Collar. It picks up from the end of season 1.
That's fun.
Yes, that again, the shows are usually half decently popular when you get a comic tie-in.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Now you might get one for a show 10 years later, just get an explanation of what happened to these characters. But when it's ongoing, we're getting a season 2. It makes me think that the people behind the show are happy with the numbers.
Also, I also feel like the people behind the show know about this, and we'll be able to get a good bridge between the two.
Yeah, I feel that you're 100% right on that, Joe. Uh, yeah, so that wraps up our news. We have our Smallville retro recap, unfortunately, tonight. Because I say unfortunately, because I can't stand the storyline that we're going on here, which is
Yeah,
the
the witches stuff.
Margaret Isabel Thoreau is the name of the stupid witch. And this is what this episode is, Joe. It's the Witch Fest. What'd you think about this
Yeah,
dumpster fire?
it was really I wasn't a big fan of it. It was really weird when they go into the cave there toward the end of the episode, and
Hmm.
there's a Cerveza crystal, beer there versus and not the actual crystal. You missed the joke. Cool. Thanks.
Tried
Come
to
on.
ignore it, Joe. I tried to
Come
ignore
on.
it.
No,
Tried to
that's a
ignore it.
good joke. It's a bad joke. It's a good joke.
Yes, I
No,
was like, I'm gonna keep myself a straight face here.
you did a good job. I'll give you that. I would love it every single one of those, and I'd like share them constantly. My girlfriend hates them, so that's why I share with her. Anyway, no, like this episode was bad, but this is the introduction of Clark going up against magic and realizing magic affects him.
Yeah.
So
That was
that is
one of the
big.
only good qualities here because he does say it too. Like
Yeah.
he does take onus of it. But again, I just don't know what they were doing here. Like even like when they sat down for season 4 and they were like, okay, we need storylines for people. Lois is coming in, Chloe's trying to take down Lionel, Lex and his father got all these things. Lex and Clark are against each other. Clark's trying to find out stuff about his past. Oh shit, we gotta think of something for Lana. Witch. Who said that? And that's what he went
There we
with
go.
because it seems like there's no thought put into this. Oh, let's tie it back into somehow the witch met a Kryptonian. We'll get that down the line. And this, was a little shocked at how shitty this was because I thought it was bad, but no, this is not what I'm so glad this.
It's. I mean, I know we're gonna get some more later. I'm happy it's done now. Like we're because I forgot most of it until the season started. I'm like, oh yeah, this stuff. I'm still now. I am gonna start calling foul here soon, because I'm pretty certain here within the next like maybe 6 or 7 episodes is when we're gonna start realizing why Jason is actually there.
Yeah,
And if that's the case, this episode was bullshit
yeah,
with
yeah,
him. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm pretty certain that they start out something and then throughout the season as it progresses, they are changing scripts up.
Doesn't like a tree fall on this guy or something? Like
At the end, it's either a tree or a building. He gets killed
yeah, like
off.
something falls on top of him, like when he
But I
goes shoot
think that's
people. Like he
because
snaps
Jensen,
too at some point, don't he?
yeah, toward the end of the season.
Yeah,
But like again, it's one of those things where I think Jensen got the call from Supernatural for a lead role, for a lead in a series, and
that
he's
lasted
like
like 2 Smallvilles.
on there.
Look,
I mean,
Smallville and a half. Smallville and a half
Smallville and a half. Yeah,
is what it
because
lasted.
it went 15 years. Smallville
Yeah,
went 10. So
and so again, right call, but it's
yeah,
frustrating. Same thing with the character in the last season, the Adam Knight character. Like you could tell they were going to do a bit more with that, but
yeah,
somebody
and
might have got a
then he
call
got lost,
lost. He got
which
lost.
then sucks because then he died while he was lost. So yeah, that became nothing.
The other thing I really thought was cool that I did enjoy about this episode was when they made Lex play the piano and not stop playing it until Clark had to push the piano out of the way when he found him. I
Definitely
did enjoy
sucks.
that. I thought that was one of the cooler shots they did where they took control and made him do that. That was
Yeah,
that was cool, but that's kind of where the coolness ended. I was not a fan of this. I'm glad that the guys on Talkville agreed. They had Kristen Curick on there as well. Uh, so I implore people to check out that episode.
very cool.
Not of the show of Talkville, not of the not Spell. Don't check out Spell if you can go against it. There's a lot more fun episodes, even in season 4 than Spell. So yeah.
I mean, we got Erica Durant's back as Lois. So
We also got Flash. We also got the Flash episode. That was really fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can't all be winners, Joe. In a
Oh, I'll just talk about this episode.
yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like
Anytime we get
Clark,
Erica Durant, I'm fine.
well, yeah, 100%. But Clark, like being chained up and having 3 hot girls in front of him, like, come on, man. That's like every high schooler's fantasy. I don't care
No,
who
it
you
seems
are.
terrible for poor Clark. Poor Clark.
Yeah, right. I know.
Someone should save him. That's why it takes so long for someone to save him. Oh my, Joe. That wraps up everything tonight. Listeners, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with more DC goodness.
Yep. Bye,
See you
y'all.
then.